Hello everyone, my name is Amin. Now, as you see, I'm not alone, I'm with my friend. Now we will talk about bee industry and we are in bee farm. Let's get to know him and what does he do and what's the topic about for today. Let's start. Okay. Hello and please introduce yourself for our subscribers who watch this video.
Okay, so thank you for the coming to my bee farm. So I am Kęstutis Garalevičius from Lithuania, from Kaunas, and I am a beekeeper and the owner of this bee farm. So I am currently studying in the University of Exeter in the United Kingdom. I'm going for the business and management degree.
As we know, all beekeepers have their own history and how they started for this business. And what's your story for starting this business and what inspired you for starting this business, not another kind of business? And just a little bit of information for us.
Okay, so basically I just kept different sorts of animals throughout my life. When I was 5 years older, I already had parrots, chickens, and other type of birds around my house. So it all started when I was very young, but at the age of 12, I just thought that bees would be another type of animal that I would like to keep. So it all started when I asked for my dad for 2 beehives for my birthday, and that's how it started.
And your age?
And I'm now 18.
Oh, that's good. Starting your business from your young age.
Yeah, that's
okay, that's cool. And about this business, give us information about this company and name and how it started. A bit information.
Okay, so Go Honey started from when we were around 4 years into beekeeping, and then we saw some opportunities where we could sell the honey. So we just began creating and we came up with the name Go Honey, which is very youthful and very simple. So it all started, and in a year we were already selling our honey online and exporting to other countries.
Okay, but as we know, the keeping bees is a bit difficult for choosing areas. And what is your area preferences for hiving the storage?
Well, basically we look for places that have different sorts of surroundings and environments. So we look that there would be a forest, that there would be some kind of water storage, like a lake or a river where bees could gather their water supplies. We look for some fields, natural fields, and maybe some even farm land. So for example, rapeseed honey, some of the customers like that, so we sometimes bring bees to the rapeseed fields where they can get the honey.
Oh, but current area, what is the...
At the moment we have
advantage?
some beehives here in Kaunas, in the city. It's very, I must say, the most productive bee yard that we have, because in the city they collect the most honey. And the other places are next to the forest in Grabuciškės and next to the natural fields. Another is in Bačkonis, that's also a bit of farmland and natural fields. And another is near Rumšiškės, where there are more of like forests and farmland.
But is it like north part or south part, or it doesn't matter for you, like, because as we know, Lithuania is a bit cold country, and for having storage of bees,
it's maybe in the south part it's a very dry and not a lot of honey can be collected, but otherwise it doesn't matter, because in Lithuania is so small that it's basically no difference whether you keep in the north or in the south.
All right. Okay, but what is the annual production of honey and sale?
Well, averagely, if we count the product like honey, we have an average of 70 kilos per hive per season. So it's only honey. Then we get small nukes, so that's small bee families We get 2 of them, small bee families,
Okay.
from a beehive because it always multiplies. So we just produce these small families and we sell them. Also, we get bee queens from the families, we get royal jelly, we get beeswax, we get propolis, we get bee bread, we get pollen, so a lot of products from one beehive that you can get.
All of them you do in this area, and for this room you are...
In this room, we fill the jars, we just label, we breed queens in our incubator here, which is here, and that's it. We store royal jelly in the freezers, and basically that's a bit of working area.
Okay, but the one question is really important for me. Mother bee selling. This is the really good business, and some mother bees I know that they are selling very huge amounts of money, and it is really interesting for me to talk about it, and your information is also important for us.
We are also selling bee queens. That's a very interesting area of beekeeping. I find it the most interesting because it's the most complicated. You have to buy the whole bee family, bee colony, because the queen without her lead, without her bees, won't be able to do anything, because the bees feed the queen, they provide her larvae, her babies, let's call them, food. They bring the food to the colony, they bring the water to the colony. So basically you have to buy the whole colony if you want to start.
Okay, but you say the bee family, and how many bees, or like mother?
There are bees. There are different types. You can buy the whole bee family, which consists of around 40,000-60,000 workers and a bee queen. You can buy a smaller family, which is of course cheaper, like 20,000 bees. You can buy just a package of bees, just simply just bees, only bees, which is also cheaper. So it depends, but you always buy a lot of bees and one queen.
One queen is enough
per family.
Wow, that's good. Okay, we talked about bees and how to produce honey, but it is the interesting topic for all of us. When we are buying honey, we have to differentiate between organic honey and sugar-based honeys, and how we can differentiate it, or what's the variety of you have plant-based bees, and what kind of honey you have in your farm.
Well, in Lithuania we have just a couple types of honey. We don't have, most of the beekeepers don't have like only for example, only linden honey or only raspberry honey, because most of the honeys in Lithuania are mixed, because we don't have these huge fields that we could determine the origin of the honey. So there are most of the time mixes of different honey from different flowers, from different nectars. But basically we have spring honey, in which you can find chestnut nectar, you can find, for example, maple nectar, you can find apple trees, you can find basically all sorts of things that bloom in the spring. And we have another type of honey which we get around in the middle of the summer. That is mostly linden honey, because it's the biggest bloom of the year. So it tastes around about mint. It has mint flavor. So you can try, if you encounter a person selling linden honey, just taste if it is with mint flavor, and if it is, it's most probably that it is a linden type of honey.
Okay, but for example, if we are going to any bazaar and we want to buy honey, we don't know like how to just choose the perfect honey for us and to be organic, not adding sugar, because some people say that you can put on a teaspoon and you can, I don't know, fire it. If it's evaporating, then it's good or not. I don't know. Just give information as a beekeeper how we can choose the perfect one.
So basically, if you go to the market somewhere from the, let's say, from November till May, you don't usually find runny honey, like liquid honey,
Okay.
because all the honey crystallizes. Of course, there are some exceptions in which honey doesn't crystallize very fast, but the majority of honey has to be crystallized. So let's see here.
Oh yes.
It is crystallized, and one of the main distinctions from other type of sugar syrups or anything are these white puzzles. Let's call them on the honey. So this is the quality insurance that it is the real honey, because any sugar syrup, anything does not have these white.
Okay, if we see this white moistures, because
Yes.
the moistures, yes, then we have to choose that honey.
Yeah,
Or
it's
in November and this winter time,
in
or-
winter anytime, because this says that it has not been heated, that it is
Okay.
not sugar syrup, that
Okay.
it's basically natural honey. Of course, that's only one part. So in which we determine that it is real honey, but we
Okay.
cannot say if it has like any metals in it, if it has any antibiotics in it. We can only assure that by finding quality insurance, which is issued by different, let's say, companies. So that is
Okay.
a sign that it's
This,
quality,
okay.
and it is given by institution
In Lithuania.
in Lithuania,
Okay.
which regulates the production of honey. So this stands for quality.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
That's good.
that's a sign you can look for it.
Okay.
So that's a really good sign.
If we see that sign
Yeah.
on the label, we definitely
Yeah, that's a really
buy it,
good
yeah.
honey. Yes, that's no problem.
Or, all right, and I think that's clear, and thank you very much for the explanation. And another topic, because I know that some vegan people also will watch this video, and what's your concern about honey is a vegan or non-vegan product?
Well, I must say that it's a vegan product because it is mostly argued that we take the honey from the bees and we leave them with sugar syrup, and that's bad for bees. Also, it is argued that we kill bees during the process, and etc. etc. But the thing is, the bees produce around 200 kilos per season, and they use around 150, 120 kilos for themselves. So basically you don't see that honey because they use it for their survival, for feeding other bees. So basically they use up around 100, 120, 150 kilos per year, and what is left is around 50 kilos of honey. 50, 70, it depends, but something like that. And we take that honey. And why do we take that? Because for the winter, bees need around 8 kilos, 10 kilos of honey to go over the winter. But the problem in Lithuania is honey is not good, it's not suitable for bees in the winter, because they can get some diseases from it, like diarrhea. So we have to replace that with sugar syrup, because otherwise they won't survive. So maybe somebody would argue that maybe if we didn't put the sugar in it, it will be natural selection, and we could select the bees which go through the winter without diarrhea with the same honey. But as the honeybees are rapidly decreasing in the planet, we have to save like most of them, so that we have bigger amounts of bees available. So we have to replace that bad honey, which is good for humans, but not good for bees, with the sugar syrup, so that they survive.
Okay. Do you think honey is vegan product?
Yeah.
Okay. Another topic. The honey is using for cosmetic industry as well. And for example, beeswax or bee pollen or propolis, just a little bit of information about the cosmetic industry using honey. Maybe you are also selling to any cosmetic companies in Lithuania or abroad. Just
Okay,
to tell
so
us?
of course, all the honey products, like all the bees products, like honey, bee pollen, bee propolis, royal jelly, are all natural products that have high, uh, very high uses, a lot of uses. For example, royal jelly is the most used in any good skincare, any good vitamin supplier uses royal jelly. And why is so? That's because royal jelly consists of anti-tumor properties, anti-fungal, anti-virus. It often is argued that increases the fertility of women.
Okay.
Royal jelly, so it heals the skin very fast. So anything that you can think of, royal jelly does. Because what is royal jelly? Royal jelly is the food for bees and bee queens. And a very interesting fact about royal jelly is that a bee and a queen bee is raised from the same egg, but just the queen bee is fed around 8 to 10 times more royal jelly,
Okay.
and therefore she evolves into a queen bee. So royal jelly increases the hormones in the bee, so it develops ovaries and other traits. So it's a very strong natural product.
All right. Thank you very much. And finally, we have students also watching this video, or any people want to run their business in honey industry. What's your advice for those people who want to choose food science, especially like honey production as a scientist, or people want to set their business in honey production? What's your advice for them as a young entrepreneur? We can call you entrepreneur because 18 years old is quite good for starting your business, and it will be great information for us to hear from you.
So it depends whether you want to keep the bees yourself or want to sell the honey. Or just to sell the honey, just buy from the farmers and from the beekeepers and sell it somewhere. But in any case, I would suggest taking time, maybe a year, working in a beekeeping farm, so you get to know all the bits and issues, pros and cons of the beekeeping. So you know how the honey is produced, so you know all the downsides, what to look in the honey, what to look for the farmers. If you just want to buy and sell the honey, you have to find your suppliers. So which suppliers are good, which suppliers are bad. So that will be in that area if you want just to resell it. But if you want to keep it, just start beekeeping. Take 2 hives, start a season, work in an apiary with the experienced beekeeper, and then just build it on that.
Okay, but for students who want to study in food science, or in the future, if they want to be a beekeeper or entrepreneur in this industry, and what do have to focus on, what should they do in the future to be a good entrepreneur or a good beekeeper?
So what I would suggest for students is just to go to a bee farm and try out your strengths and to see whether you want really to start the beekeeping business, and to see whether you like it or whether not, and to see what are the problems involved in this industry, and to see whether you want to commit all of your time, because in the summer you basically work for 16 to 18 hours per day, from 6 in the morning to 8 in the evening. So you have to commit yourself really well to that.
And you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
For taking this responsibility for your shoulders.
Yeah.
If you want to be a good beekeeper, yeah.
Because you also go through ups and hills throughout the whole season, and if you just get very depressed because something didn't turn out right, then it can ruin the whole season. But you have to just take up the mistakes, eliminate them, and just carry on, because the season is very short and it doesn't stop if you stop, but the season doesn't stop. So we have to go and continue with the work because bees don't wait for you.
Alright.
So that would be my advice, just to go for one season somewhere in the bee farm and help out the beekeeper and see how it's done in a good apiary.
Alright, thank you very much for your advice, and I'm definitely sure that this advice will help to all people, for students and for the people who want to run their business in honey industry. I think that's all for today, and thank you very much for greeting us in your bee farm, and thank you very much for watching this video. Keep watching and subscribing this channel. See you in next industry. Take care. Bye bye.